Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live channel episode. Now today is the 12th of April 2021 and I'm going to be bringing you all of the latest updates to do with, well, surrounding the issue, of course, of Prince Philip's, the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, which is coming up, of course, on Saturday. So just to reiterate the title of this video, I've called it Prince Harry Back in the UK and He and William release statements and also Prince Philip updates. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So as always, I'm going to be trying to read as many viewer comments and questions as I can, as this is a live chat. So I think we should kind of just jump into the first point of business, I should say. And that is that Prince Harry is indeed back here in the United Kingdom. There was lots of talk and speculation about when and how he would return. I said yesterday in my live chat, you may remember, you may have watched me, I said he's either going to return today or tomorrow, meaning today. He had actually already returned at the point I made that video. It just wasn't released to the media at that time. So he was spotted boarding a plane, apparently, in LA to head back to the UK. And then he was spotted by, I don't know if it was a member of the public, possibly awaiting paparazzi, I do not know. But he was spotted arriving back in the UK yesterday, which was Sunday, Sunday the 11th. It was the 11th, wasn't it? Yeah, Sunday the 11th of April 2021 at Heathrow, and I think it was round about 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So, but the information wasn't released until later in the day. So he's been back in the UK since yesterday. There was lots of talk about where he went. I saw one report yesterday saying that he'd gone back to Kensington Palace, to Nottingham Cottage, which I was kind of thinking, that doesn't seem quite right, seeing as he has Frogmore Cottage, which he's paid for, still paying rent on. But then I thought, well, maybe Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank are there. So maybe that's why, seeing as he's got to quarantine for 5 days, maybe he can't go and stay with them. So maybe he'd go back to Nottingham Cottage. But then I thought, well, since he's moved out, Nottingham Cottage would have been given to someone else. Not given. It could even be a staff member, a prominent staff member, as a grace and favour home. So I kind of thought it was a little bit weird. But today we actually have another confirmation that actually he has moved back to Frogmore Cottage. So all the reports as of now are saying that Prince Harry is at Frogmore Cottage, the home he shared and renovated with Meghan for Archie, of which they paid off all the taxpayer money in full and are now paying market rent on it. So apparently he is back there. Where is Princess Eugenie? I do not know. Perhaps she hasn't been there for a long time. And it was always my understanding that they had actually kept Ivy Cottage, which was their home, might still be their home at Kensington Palace. So the news at the moment is that that Princess Beatrice, that Prince Harry is at Frogmore Cottage. Right, I can see quite a few people already coming into the room. So thank you for joining. We have 141 people watching already. So Meghan, again, is not returning to the UK for the funeral. The official line, the official comment, the official spokespeople are saying that it is because of her advanced stages of pregnancy. Although I have seen an article today saying that maybe some friends have spoken to the press saying that it was because she didn't want to be the centre of attention. I haven't looked too much into that article yet. I just kind of saw a little bit, so perhaps I'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow. Like I say, I don't know too much about that to be able to comment any further than there are two stories going around: the official line and, of course, perhaps what some friends or inside sources have been telling or putting out there to the media. So we'll talk about that perhaps tomorrow, I think. Right, William and Catherine, where are they? It's the Easter holidays. So typically, William and Catherine and the Cambridge children would go to Anmer for all of the school holidays and then return to Kensington Palace ready for school. So it's probably that they probably are following their normal pattern and have gone to Anmer. very unlikely that they would be staying at Kensington Palace. So again, that was causing a lot of stories about, will William be seeing Harry? No, I think the Cambridges are likely to be at Anmer. And of course, Windsor and Frogmore is, further away from both of them anyway. So I don't, and obviously because of coronavirus rules, Prince Harry will have had to have taken a test before he boarded the plane. Then he'll have had to have tested back in the UK, quarantined for 5 days. But of course, on compassionate grounds here in the UK, the COVID rules are that he can attend the funeral, but he will have to be, of course, like everyone else, socially distanced. So I don't think Prince Harry and William are going to speak face to face until the actual funeral. It's going to be quite a meeting because obviously of everything that's gone on with the Oprah interview, it's going to be quite a meeting. They may have spoken on the phone already. Don't know, but certainly the first face-to-face physical meeting will be at the funeral. They will have to be distanced, but I'm kind of hoping that there will be a united front. I think probably the royals will agree on that. Don't forget, it is being televised, so they are going to want to avoid any repetitions of the last Commonwealth Day service, in which, of course, it could be described, if anything, as perhaps a little bit frosty. I definitely think it could be described as frosty, if nothing else. So I think they're going to want to avoid that. The royals, in particular, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, Princess Anne, are all going to want to pull together and show a united front. We saw the example of Prince Edward and Prince Andrew and the Countess of Wessex coming together, having a very united front. And I think that is what we're going to see on the day of the funeral on Saturday the 17th. Right, moving on. Both royal brothers, William and Harry, have posted their own tributes. So I'm going to read those for you now. Let's just start with the first brother to post anything was actually Prince William. And that was via their social medias and, of course, released to the media as well. So I'm going to click on that and read it to you. So I'm reading it from Kensington Palace Twitter, but it'll be all over the social medias as well, and of course widely reported in the media. So, issued Monday the 12th of April 2021, a message from His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge. My grandfather's century of life was defined by service to his country and Commonwealth, to his wife and Queen, and to our family. I feel lucky to have not just had his example to guide me, but his enduring presence well into my own adult life, both through good times and the hardest days. I will always be grateful that my wife had so many years to get to know my grandfather, and for the kindness he showed her. I will never take for granted the special memories my children will always have of their great-grandpa, coming to collect them in his carriage and seeing for themselves his infectious sense of adventure, as well as his mischievous sense of humour. My grandfather was an extraordinary man and part of an extraordinary generation. Catherine and I will continue to do what we have wanted to do, and will support the Queen in the years ahead. I will miss my grandpa, but I know he would want us to get on with the job. Again, most comments coming out from people that knew Prince Philip are talking about his mischievous sense of humour and the impact that he had on their lives. So I'm going to go now, so literally about half an hour after William posted his message, Prince Harry updated the Archewell website to include a statement from Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, which I will read now. My grandfather was a man of service, honour and great humour. He was authentically himself, with a seriously sharp wit, and could hold the attention of any room due to his charm, and also because you never know what he might say next. He will be remembered as the longest reigning consort to the monarch, a decorated serviceman, a prince and a duke. But to me, like many of you who have lost a loved one or grandparent over the pain of this past year, he was my grandpa, master of the barbecue, legend of banter, and cheeky right till the end. He has been a rock for Her Majesty the Queen, with unparalleled devotion, by her side for 73 years of marriage. And while I could go on, I know that right now he would say to all of us, beer in hand, oh, do get on with it. So on that note, Grandpa, thank you for your service, your dedication to Granny, and for always being yourself. You will be sorely missed, but always remembered by the nation and the world. Meghan, Archie, and I, as well as your future great-granddaughter, will always hold a special place for you in our hearts. And then he shared, I think it is the Royal Marines motto, and I'm probably going to say this incorrectly because it's in Latin, I do believe. Per mar per tarum. So I hope I said that correctly. But two lovely, touching messages from two of his grandsons. Now, I would probably say that they are very, very different messages. William's is a lot more formal than Harry's, which is a lot more kind of relaxed and kind of mischievous himself, talking about all kinds of different things. Of course, we have to remember, Prince William, going to be king, has to be a little bit more formal, and of course his message would have gone through the palace. And of course Prince Harry he's broken away from the royal family in terms of being an official royal, which means that he can bypass all the usual press mechanisms and he can write and say literally whatever he wants. So I think we are seeing very, very two different messages, but the sense that comes out of them is very, very similar. You can tell they are talking about the same man. Talking about, again, his sense of banter and cheekiness is the same as William saying about his mischievous sense of humour. They both talk about devotion and service. Everyone who is coming out talking about the Duke of Edinburgh is completely talking about his sense of dedication, service. Princess Anne made a specific point of saying service freely given. In other words, he expected nothing back in return for that service. Service freely given, I think, was a very pertinent phrase, I think, from Her Royal Highness, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. Very direct as well. And I think completely true. He didn't expect anything back. He was always two steps behind the Queen. He always respected his position. He knew that he had a very important position, and he knew that even within the confines of being a royal and all the different confining elements that brings, he knew that he had a place that could make a difference, a big difference on the world platform, on the Commonwealth platform. And he was loved and adored, and he did it for all those years freely, with nothing expected in return. And that is exactly what true service is. True public service. Anyone can do service. They really can. But to do public service representing a country, not many people can do that. You have to be officially accepted by a country or an institution, or perhaps if you're in the army, to be classed as true public service. And His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh did public service for so long, freely given with nothing in return. And that is being remembered by so many people. All the organisations and charities that he worked with, the armed forces, his family, people that he supported through the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme, which has helped thousands, countless thousands of people, young people, reach their potential. He is a truly amazing and wonderful man and will be dearly loved and missed by all. I do hope that the Queen is taking some time out for herself. We saw yesterday that the Countess of Wessex and Prince Andrew and Edward all kind of confirmed that the Queen is putting other people first. She's doing what most people of her generation do, and that is put yourself on the back burner and thinking about everyone else, when really it's the Queen that's going through so much pain. She must be. She's got her two new dogs to help keep her company. I hope that she is taking time out for herself. Now, there is one other little story that's come about. We all know that, well, maybe you don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you. So, as part of the funeral arrangements, instead of having like a hearse, they're going to use for his coffin a specially designed Land Rover, which the Duke of Edinburgh had a hand in designing himself. So this is an old kind of adapted Land Rover. So apparently they were preparing, or rather making sure this vehicle worked, even when the Duke of Edinburgh was in hospital. So it just goes to show that they do think that they probably did think that it was touch and go when he was in the hospital, because they were preparing this vehicle ready. And it was always kind of his wishes that he didn't want any fuss, any pomp. And the Queen agreed. He always apparently used to say, just stick me on the back of a Land Rover and, take me to my final resting place. And the Queen said, yeah, well, we'll do just that. So they got this ready. Apparently it was being prepped today as well. I think it was even taken for a little test drive. So that is underway. It's a beautiful green Land Rover that will be perfect for what it's going to be used for. So I'm really happy that the Duke of Edinburgh is going to get his wish. He's going to be put on the back of this Land Rover with no fuss and no pomp and no circumstance, and just taken to where he needs to be. So I'm really happy that he's going to get his wishes, basically. So I'm going to leave it here. I don't think we've had anything else official about the service, about the funeral as of yet. But as soon as we do have a little bit more of a breakdown, I will come on and do a video about that. Obviously, I do not know what's going to come out tomorrow, so I'll probably come on around about the same time tomorrow and see what's come out. Right, I can see a question coming up, so I'll just read that now. Sharona says, do you think the Queen will continue to wear black after the funeral? Also, is the flag at Windsor Castle at half-mast? I'll start with the flags first. Yes, all the flags on royal palaces and also public buildings like council townhouses and that kind of thing will all be at half-mast as a mark of respect for the official 8 days of mourning, which officially end on the funeral day. Now, will the Queen wear black beyond the official 8 days? It's possible, because the royal family, although the official state period of mourning will be over on the day of the funeral, well, actually, it'll kind of start the day after the funeral, the royal family themselves will be observing a 2-week period of mourning. So it is more than possible that the Queen will continue, and members of the royal family will continue to wear black throughout that 2-week period. So probably another week after the funeral. Royal engagements will be drastically reduced from all members of the royal family during this 2-week period. Only the most essential of essential engagements that they can't get out of will go ahead. So you might see the odd royal like Prince Charles maybe doing something, but most things will have been cancelled. The things being done will be the things that they literally couldn't really get out of without causing too much disruption to others. So again, the royal family is thinking about other people before themselves, which is what they do the best. In terms of the Queen, all of her official engagements have been cancelled. Only the very, very most important functions of state will still go ahead. And that is if something drastically needs doing. Although I have kind of heard wind that the Parliament, that the government is not going to be sending anything to her to be signed during the official 8-day period. But that might have to change when it gets into the 2-week period, and into that final week, because literally the mechanisms of state cannot just completely dry up. But for 8 days, definitely, nothing will need to be signed. They will keep things back and then start again probably after the 8 days, but at a much reduced level. So the Queen will have some time. But also I think it is good to have a little bit of stuff going on as well that's more normality, to kind of help to get her through this period as well, which I think she might need. Sarah says no red boxes at the moment. We believe that has been cancelled for the first 8 days, but they will probably start resuming after the 8 days. But if I hear anything else, I will update you and let you know. Kawana says this is virtual schooling. Thank you, Sharona, who says that she loves the brooch. Oh, just in case you haven't noticed, I'm actually wearing the Prince Albert consort brooch. So this is the brooch that Prince Albert, the consort of Queen Victoria, designed for Queen Victoria. So I thought, seeing as Prince Philip is the longest consort in history, I would wear the consort design brooch. Obviously not by Philip, but by Prince Albert. So I just thought that was a nice little touch. I don't know if anyone guessed that's that's what it was, but there we go. Lisa says, where will the Duke's final resting place be? Well, we don't know the final resting place, but the resting place he will be put to after this funeral will be the main big royal vault. Now, this is the royal vault that his mother was interred in until she was moved back to Greece, I think it was. And of course, we've seen the video and photos of William and Charles on separate occasions visiting their great grandmother, I suppose, but Charles's grandmother. So he'll be in the main royal vault of St George's Chapel, and we think until the Queen passes away, in which case we think they will both be interred together. So Philip moved at the same time as the Queen, going into the George VI Chapel, which is the Queen's parents and where the ashes of Margaret are, because there are 2 coffin spaces remaining. So if the Queen is expressing a wish to be buried with her parents, we think the most likely scenario is that Philip will join the Queen at that point. So he will be resting, interred into the royal vault until such a time as something happens to the Queen. We think at the moment, but obviously time will tell on that one. But it's the most likely scenario, we think. Oh yes, Dabby, buried in Israel. Yes, you are correct. Thank you for that correction. Stumpy, wasn't Princess Alice laid to rest in Jerusalem? Yes, Israel. Right, let's go up. I'm trying to find... Dan says, should people who own flagpoles fly the Union Jack at home half-mast? You can if you want to. If you've got a flag, you can fly it at half-mast. There's nothing stopping you. You can fly your flag as high as you want. So if you want to do that as a mark of respect, there is nothing stopping you. There is no law about how high you can fly your flag. So if you want to do that and you're lucky enough to have a flagpole, go ahead. Right, I'm going to leave it here for now. If you've enjoyed this video in terms of being delivered the news of the day, to do with obviously the royal family and the Duke of Edinburgh's upcoming funeral, then please give the video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. Make sure you are subscribed so that and hit that bell so that you know whenever I pop up and do a live chat. So unless anything really radical happens, I will probably be back tomorrow round about the same time. So from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all and goodbye.